God, remind me to see my child the way you see my child, because that is what will bring us peace and freedom from the chains of comparison. Hi guys, it's Amanda with Eat, Pray, Crunch, and today I am doing a video that is a kind of companion video to a video I did several months ago. And if you have not seen that video, I'm going to link it here. That video is about not comparing yourself to other people, especially as a woman, especially as a mother. So if that is something that you are struggling with in comparing yourself, definitely go and watch that video. It talks about how it's not really productive, and when you're comparing, you're not really comparing because you're not seeing the whole picture. And it just gives you some ways of thinking and some ideas to kind of change that comparison mindset. So that said, this video is about not comparing your children. This is so important, and I have just really felt like this has been on my heart lately because I know that I have struggled with this a lot in my own parenting. I have lots of friends who have struggled with it in their parenting. I've been in mom groups where I see this happening all the time. It's the same problem of comparison, but it's not doing it with yourself, it's comparing your kids. And this can be in the form of comparing your child to the other kids around them, their peers, and it can also be comparing one of your kids to another one of your kids, and it can be comparing your child's childhood to your own childhood. And let me tell you, I have learned the hard way that there is nothing fruitful that comes out of comparing your kids. Now, I made another video that talks about the whole process I have gone through as a mother. I have now been a mother for 4 years, and I have done so much maturing in those 4 years. You have no idea how much maturing I have done. Parenthood has a way of refining your character like few other things and humbling you like few other things. And I actually made a whole video talking about just how parenting has humbled me, and I will link that right here in the cards. It has happened in a multitude of ways, and when all is said and done, I am thankful that I have gone through this process because I feel like I have so much more perspective as a parent now. I feel like I have more wisdom now. God knows, I'm only 4 years into this, so, I'm just starting to scratch the surface. I know that, moms have been doing this for 20 years, like, they're like light years beyond where I'm at. But if I am just looking at where I started 4 years ago to where I am now, there's been so much growth. And I just wanted to share what I have learned with you guys, especially when it comes to comparing your kids. So let me give a little bit of backstory. I talk about in that video that I mentioned about being humbled. Anyway, I think that elimination communication can work for a lot of kids, but we had life happen, we moved, there were various things. I've talked about this in other videos. It just ended up not working out. Then I have a whole video, it's my most popular video actually, I have it right here, about how I tried doing 3-day potty training with my son when he was 2, a little over 2. And it was partially successful, but it was still a lot of work and it was stressing me the heck out. And then a few months later, he regressed again. And then we tried again, like 6 months later, and he, kind of partially got it again, and then he regressed again. Never once did he go number 2 on the potty that whole time. And then a little after 3.5, because at this point I had just given up. It was stressing me out so much, I was just like, kid can potty train himself when he wants, because I was so frustrated. I was just like so over it. And that's what everyone had said who had had stubborn potty trainers before, the wisdom of the mothers before me. They said, just wait, one day it will click, it will happen. And it did. I was like, when is this magical day going to happen? And it happened. I'll make a whole video about that here at some point, about our potty training success and how we are mostly on the other side of that now. Thank you, God. But let me tell you that that humbled me, because I had this idea that kids who are in diapers until age 3, like, really, that's a parent problem, not a kid problem. Yeah, no. Little did I know just how strong of a force nature is in kids. And he was going to potty train himself when he darn well pleased. He is a very strong-willed child, and that is just one example. He is also a very strong-willed child when it comes to food, and this is a struggle we have had all the way along. The kid, there is only a handful of foods that the kid will eat. I made a whole video about our experience with extreme pickiness in my child. I have a video on that as well that I will link here. Everybody always says, oh, they won't starve themselves. They won't starve themselves. When they get hungry enough, they'll eat. Just keep offering. Just keep offering. I tried that. I tried that method. I wasn't making separate things for him. The kid went for 24 hours without eating. And we were all miserable during that time, mind you. So that didn't work. So that was another thing I was entirely humbled about. Now, Alex also did not walk until he was almost 19 months. And that's pretty darn, I mean, it's still in the very, very end range of normal, but that's still pretty darn late. So that was one of those things that I was also like, is this something I should be worrying about? Anyway, so just giving that as context. So the same child who walked that late and potty trained that late and is so stubborn with food, the same child, he is now 4, he is reading at a 2nd grade level. He has an incredible mind. He basically has a photographic memory. He has all sorts of interests and knowledge. He's currently very interested in the solar system, and he can tell you all, like, he knows more about astronomy than I do. Like, he can tell you how many moons Jupiter has. And he is also interested in the human body. He's like currently interested in the digestive system and the cardiovascular system and how they work, and we have a book about that, and he's very interested. He's also very interested in nature when we go out in the forest, and you know, he can name all of the different trees and plants. There were some areas where he was meeting milestones behind his peers, and there are other ways that he's like meeting milestones years ahead of his peers. And so it's given me so much perspective having a child that's not average in that way, because it just makes you realize that every kid is so different. Like, I know it is cliche, but it is so true. Now let's talk about my daughter Sophie. She is such a different child than my son. Now here I am comparing, right? I think ultimately what I am saying about comparison is don't place value on comparison. I think it's okay to like make observations about differences, but don't place the worth of your child on those differences, if that makes sense. So here I am comparing my son to my daughter, but my daughter Sophie has been so different, so different. In some ways, she has just been much more easygoing all the way along. She's much more adventurous. You know, having her also made me realize just how different kids can be. Because while my son is very cautious and anxious about trying new things and doing things that are like physically scary or adventurous or daring, he won't do any of those things. And whereas my daughter, Sophie, man, she is off, she is running. Like, you go to the playground and she's climbing to the top of the tallest structure and she's going down the biggest slide she can find. And I love that about her. She is a little adventurer. She's very physical, which is also different than my son. She walked at a pretty average time. She walked, I think she took her first step on her first birthday, and her language development has been, you know, right on, you know, average or even a little bit ahead. And she's also just incredibly self-reliant, which is also very different than my son. Like, I mean, there are certain things that he wants to do by himself also, but much more often he prefers to have help with things. He wants to have help all the time. Or wants us to do something for him. Whereas my daughter is like, get out of my way, I am gonna figure this thing out on my own. And she does. She is just a resourceful little thing. And then again, in other ways, they are very similar. They're both incredibly curious children and just have this thirst for knowledge, which I think is true of a lot of kids. Whatever Alex is interested in, she is also interested in. So she is also interested in outer space, and she can tell you all the names of the planets and all of that. And it's just so much fun to see, you know, this little 2-year-old interested in that kind of thing. So in some ways they are similar, and I feel like, you know, in some ways their temperaments are also very similar. I think their default temperament is to be pretty laid back, except when they feel like they're being wronged. Especially with my son Alex, he more freaks out if it's, you know, something that's different or some kind of change, because he does not do well with change, whereas with my daughter Sophie, she's just totally go with the flow with change. You know, she couldn't care less about whether, you know, something is new and different. However, she freaks out if she feels like you are trying to do something for her, and then her will really comes into play. But for the most part, I feel like both kids are pretty mellow kids. So all that is to say, I am so thankful that God gave me 2 kids that are so incredibly different in some ways and similar in some ways. It's just given me so much perspective in that it really has made me realize that, you know what, unless there's something that's like way off, that like clearly, you know, there needs to be some help here. As long as a child is within normal range of development, like we can't be worrying about when they meet their milestones and when they do this, and or, you know, if they're good at this or bad at that. Like, it's just like us as adults. So this is another thing I see moms doing quite a bit, is seeing the areas where their child struggles and thinking that that struggle is going to define them. You know, it's so easy to look at areas where your child has weaknesses and to worry about that. I mean, let's just put this in perspective, because all of us, adults, children, all of us have strengths and weaknesses, and that is no different with our kids. So for example, I'll never say never, but I think it's likely that my son Alex probably won't be the best team sports player. That's just not so much his kind of thing. He's much more of an intellectual kid. And so, you know, for example, if I have somebody looking at my child and say like, oh wow, like he's reading at a 2nd grade level, and then I say, well, yes, but look at your child playing basketball at age 3 over here, or look at them doing gymnastics, or look how good they are at math. The bigger picture is key. You have to remember that while yes, your child may have, you know, some of these areas where they're struggling over here, they also have all of these areas over here where they are excelling. And while it is important that we help them and help them grow in the areas where they are struggling, it's also important that we acknowledge and praise and celebrate their gifts. And we have to see that whole picture, that our children, just like the rest of us, are made up of strengths and weaknesses. And you have to see that whole picture. We can't just focus on their strengths, and we can't just focus on their weaknesses. Like, they are a whole being and they're complex, and that's a good thing. All of their strengths and their weaknesses, they're all just pieces of the puzzle of the grander, bigger picture of who they are. Because when you are focusing on one child's weakness compared to this other child's strength, you're totally missing this child's strength over here that might be a totally different strength, and that needs to be celebrated, and those differences need to be celebrated. And it's just like I was saying, you know, in comparing yourself as an adult to other women, other moms, it's the exact same thing. You have to see the bigger picture, because oftentimes we are comparing our weaknesses to other moms' strengths. Don't do it. Don't do it, as tempting as it is, because you're not seeing the whole picture. You have to remember that, you know, when you're seeing a mom's strength over here, that mom also has a weakness in something that she is struggling with that you might be really good at. So that is my message. Don't compare your kids, or at least don't place value in the comparison of your kids to other kids. Ultimately, you know, the same mantra that I use for myself when I find myself comparing myself to other people is what I use with my kids. And that is, God, remind me to see my child the way you see my child, because that is what will bring us peace and freedom from the chains of comparison. So if you guys found this video to be inspiring or helpful, feel free to share it with somebody who might need to hear this message. Subscribe if you're new here. I love getting to know you guys as part of this community. So thank you guys so much for watching, and we'll see you next time. Bye.